Welcome to the unknown, a place where ghosts, cryptids, and extraterrestrials are sought. This is where you'll find answers to questions about what lurks in the dark. This is Periscope Uncensored.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Periscope Uncensored here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. I'm your host, Clarissa Vasquez. My partner in crime is having technical difficulties tonight, so you're stuck with my melodic voice until we get Jax and his radio voice on the line. I know, I'm sorry, because I know all of the girls that are listening out there are just drooling with anticipation because they want to hear him, and nope. Not going to happen for a few minutes because he's having some troubles. Don't you just love technology, though? And if I understand correctly, it's raining where he's at. And so that could be what's going on. I have no idea. He just messaged me, and he's like, I'm really trying. He's really trying, and so I'm messaging him right now and telling him, to hang in there and to come on the call when he can. So don't worry, girls. He'll be here, but it's going to be a few. Tonight's guest. Oh my gosh, what an amazing guest tonight. We are going to have a guy. He is a paranormal investigator. He's an author. He's been on TV's Haunted Case Files. We're going to have Jack Kenna on the line. And I know he's got some big projects in the works, and hopefully we'll get to talk a little bit about those. Don't know, with the non-disclosure agreements, and got to keep things kind of hush-hush on the DL for a little while. But maybe we'll get to talk about that, maybe not. We're certainly going to talk about his written works and talk about Haunted Case Files and some of his experiences that he's had as an investigator. And it's going to be a really good time. We've had Jack on Periscope many, many, many years ago. And so it's going to be good to get caught up with him and, see what's been going on in his exciting world. And, for the loyal Periscope listeners, of course, Jack is not new, but to the show rather. But for our new listeners here on WBHM, it's, you guys are really, really in for a treat because this guy knows his stuff. And want to welcome everybody that's listening via the WBHM website. Everybody that's in the chat room, hello and welcome. I'm also in chat. If you're listening via Spreaker or one of the other apps, I encourage you to come on over to WBHM-DB.com, where you can join the chat room and talk to like-minded and sometimes not so like-minded individuals. And I will say one thing in chat, you never know what they are going to say. Oh my gosh, I learned the hard way when we were doing Hidden World last Tuesday. Oh my gosh, people were going nuts. They were talking about the craziest things. It was insane. I was kicking back, eating popcorn, going, wow, what are they going to say next? And so, come on over to WBHM-DB.com and join the chat room. Join in the fun. I'm in there. Our producer, Kat Hobson, is in there. And there's a bunch of other people in there. One of our up-and-coming guests here on Periscope is in the chat room right now. And I'm not going to divulge who that is because, I really don't want to put him on the spot. And actually, I think Jax is trying to get him rescheduled. We had a cancellation come up, and we can probably get this guy on earlier. So that was... I put Jax in charge of that. I'm like, here, you go do it, because I do everything else. You do this. And so, this guy could be on, in just a couple of weeks instead of, several weeks out. And we're really, really excited to talk to him and learn about some of his experiences. But of course, if you've got questions, for either me or for Jax or for our guest tonight, Jack Kenna, feel free to pop them into chat. WBHM-DB.com. That's the best way you can get questions to us and questions to the guest, because I'm in there. I monitor the chat room, and I can get your question on the air, provided it is appropriate and you know who you are. I'm not going to ask the dirty questions. Not on this show. On Hidden World, I might, but not on this show. And so speaking of Hidden World, for our listeners who also tune into Hidden World, next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, we are going to have Corvus Nocturnum. He's one of the lead spokespeople for the Church of Satan. Now, before you go freak out, we ask, have an open mind about this. A lot of people hear, the big S word and they're like immediately, wanting to shun the guest and shun the show. And, oh my gosh, how can you have somebody from the Church of Satan on your show? No, I encourage you to tune in, become educated, become informed, and, listen with an open mind, because you might learn some things that would actually surprise you. Just like on Periscope, you may learn some things that'll surprise you. But next week on Hidden World, for sure, tune in, have an open mind. It's going to be great. And that's coming up here on January 29th, 9 p.m. Eastern, WBHM Digital Broadcasting. It's the place to be. WBHM is the place to be every night. Let me tell you, there are so many amazing shows on this network that have just come to the network. My two shows, Hidden World and Periscope Uncensored, brand new to WBHM. Periscope's been around forever, but we're brand new to WBHM, and we are so happy to be part of this family. We have been welcomed with open arms and an open mind, especially, when it comes to Hidden World. And so, we're really happy to be here and to be part of the WBHM family. And we've already got questions coming in the chat room for our guest this evening. Brenda, I will get to those questions as soon as our guest is on the line. Right now, I don't even have a co-host to talk to. You feel sorry for me, because my co-host is having technical issues. It's sad. It's very sad. I should probably see if he wants to call in until he can get his technical issues resolved. Let me send him a message, because I know that's why you guys are really tuning in. You want to hear Jax. You guys don't want to hear me. I say that in jest. I know you guys love me. So there. Send him a message asking him if he wants to call in. We'll find out. We'll see what's going to happen. You never know. That's the beauty of live radio. And yes, folks, that is the famous Bubba Lou in the background, who thinks that he needs to be on the radio too. Yeah, no, you need to go lay down. That is my paranormal kitty cat, Mr. Bubba Lou. He loves it when I am on the radio, because he thinks I'm talking to him. He doesn't realize I'm talking to all of you fabulous folks. He thinks I'm talking to him. And I don't know if I just lost my feed or not. I'm going to do a quick check-in with the producer. Cat, I'm still here. Yay! I had a click on my line, so I wasn't sure if I just got dropped. So again, the beauty of live radio. And he's in chat. Yay! So he'll be here soon, folks. I promise. He'll be here soon. So we're trying to get him on the Skype call, and just as soon as we can make that happen, then you get to hear him, because yeah, that's why you guys really tune in, even though I don't let him talk very much. I sent him a message, Kat, asking if he wanted to call in until we could get this resolved, and he hasn't answered yet. So we'll see. I know he's got internet, but if I had to wager, I would imagine Skype froze. Yeah, they've been doing all of these Skype updates, and it seems like with every update, Skype gets worse. So, um, we'll we'll see what's going on. He's not in chat anymore, so maybe he had to reboot the computer, or I don't know. Okay, sure. Yeah, no, that's fine. We can do that. Okay. So in the meantime, until we get Jax on the air, our fabulous producer, Miss Kat Hobson, is going to join me, just so I'm not sitting here talking to myself. Even
You're doing a great job, though.
I try. I'm like, yeah, I can cover for a few minutes. Here it is, 10 minutes in, and I'm like talking about my cat. So
Well, I have to say that that is the most human cat I've heard.
yeah, he's a chatterbox.
I have Kylie the Wonder Lab, and from the first time that I started doing a show when she was much younger, she would bark. And it's a
Really?
big lab bark. So
Oh
it
yeah.
became a joke on my show that the first person to tag Kylie in chat when she barked got to enjoy a wonderful week with Kylie the Wonder Lab at their home. People quit.
Oh, how funny.
But it really
Yeah.
did become a thing. I mean, you can play with that just like you are. So there's
Oh
nothing
yeah.
wrong with that. We're all,
Yeah.
yeah, we're all
Yeah.
human. And
Yeah.
even your
Well, and
cat.
that's the beauty. Well, yeah, well, my cat thinks he's human. He thinks he's human. So he even takes baths. Did you know that?
Like a real bath?
Hmm. Yep.
I
A
would,
real bath.
that's interesting. I have
Hmm.
not known a cat who did that.
He is a water baby. And yeah, he's a water baby, and he loves his baths, and okay, Jax is showing online on Skype. So
Woo!
I'm trying to bring him in. Well, we're gonna try this again, folks, and see if we can make it work. And all I see is the circle spinning and
It'll
spinning
get
and
there.
spinning. Uh, Come on, buddy, you can do it. You can do it. I know you can.
We're gonna just start making round and round Jax's new song.
Right.
So
Use the force, Jax.
be one with the Skype.
Yes, be one with the Skype. Use the force. He's showing online on Skype,
Well,
so
let's give him a minute. Maybe it just needs to settle in or something.
maybe. I don't
So,
know.
we're very glad to have y'all here.
Oh, well, thank you. We're happy to be here.
I think y'all are such a benefit for the network and just a good mix. And
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of people ask me about your Church of Satan show coming up.
Really?
I
Okay.
have. And they're interested. People,
Good.
I'm from the Bible Belt, in case you
Uh-huh.
couldn't tell by my accent.
No,
So,
I had no idea.
right, I see him. I see his face.
You see his face?
Jax is in the call.
He's on the call. Can we hear him?
Hello,
Yes, you
Jax.
can.
Oh, hey!
Hello.
Guys, I am going to back out of here and
Sorry.
let y'all do your thing. Jax, it's so nice to see you. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
All
Sorry
right.
about the technical difficulties.
It happens. Y'all just have a fantastic show, okay?
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
So for the last 14 minutes or so, I've been talking about upcoming guests. I've been talking about tonight's guest. I've been talking about Hidden World, and I've been talking about the cat. And cat. I've been talking. Yeah, I've been talking with the cat and about the cat. We've been talking about Bubba Lou, and then cat hopped on for a few minutes, and and we've been talking. So But I know all of our listeners are glad to have you on the call because they're tired of listening to me.
Okay, the question was, is that all paranormal?
Is what all paranormal?
Talking about the cat with the cat? About the cat?
Yeah, no. No. Well, I don't know. Is a cat that likes to take baths paranormal? It's not normal, but
No, I've never even heard of that, to tell you the truth.
well, until you learned that Bubba Lou likes baths, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Is that paranormal?
No, I just think that you have a abnormal cat that likes baths.
An abnormal. It's not paranormal, it's abnormal. Do you hear that, Bubba Lou? He says you're abnormal.
Oh,
I know.
jeez.
I know. I know. Are you going to put up with that? Are you going to let him talk about you like that? If that's the worst thing that is said about him all day, he is a lucky cat.
Well, most cats, you give them a bath and you get scratched to death.
Yeah, no, not with Bubba.
So,
Not Bubba. He likes his baths. In fact, he needs a bath. He's kind of stinky. He needs a bath. But, the weather has just been so cold and, trying to conserve energy and trying to conserve money. I've been keeping the heat down in the house. And so I haven't given him a bath since November. And, been keeping the bathroom door closed so he can't hop in the shower with me because, I don't want him to get sick.
right.
He gets wet, he gets cold, he gets sick, and I don't want that. I don't want a vet bill. So, gotta pick your battles, I guess.
Yes.
But we've got a great guest coming up tonight here in about 3 minutes.
Yes. Mr. Jack Kenna from
Yeah. Haunted Case File.
Us. Yes.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah. And the chat room is blowing up. Let me tell you. I don't know. Are you in? No, you're not in chat right now.
Not
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. You got on the call and the chat room just went wild.
Actually, why does technology have to be so difficult, especially laptops?
I don't know.
I had to reboot this thing 3 times in order to come on.
Wow.
I don't know what the heck. I'm hoping it's not a virus, but who knows?
Oh, that would not be good. I hope
No.
it's not a virus. Did you give the laptop a bath and let it get cold?
Well, it's 55 degrees here right now. It should be cold.
Yeah, no, it's not cold over there. Are you kidding? I haven't checked to see what the temperature is over here. It's not 55. But I mean, you saw the picture earlier today of my stepfather shoveling the snow in my driveway, so it's 33 here. So
Yeah.
actually, no, I think it's colder than that.
Today's weather is like speedo weather.
Speedo weather. Were you running around in a Speedo today?
I should have been. Because the area where I work and the department, there's no AC in there, or
Right.
even though it's wintertime, that sometimes we have it on, considering that it helps, the ventilation of the air and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's kind of like, working with 7 different ovens pumping out at 250 degrees each one. It gets warm in there real quick.
It gets a little warm. I don't know. I think your bosses might be opposed to the idea of Speedos as part of the work attire? I don't know.
No comment.
No comment? Uh-oh.
That
Well,
that
given
place.
that given that you have no comment, it is time for our first commercial break of the evening. But when we come back, we're going to have Mr. Jack Kenna on the line. So stay tuned, folks. You're listening to Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. We'll be right back. 23 minutes past the hour here on Periscope Uncensored, broadcast on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Alabama. I'm your host, Clarissa Vasquez. My co-pilot this evening, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Jax.
How you doing, everybody?
And Jax, we did have a suggestion from the chat room that you not be in the chat room so it doesn't eat up your bandwidth and interrupt your Skype call, which is probably not a bad idea.
I agree. Totally.
Yeah. But we have got a fabulous guest on the line, folks. I have been connected with this gentleman on social media for a long time now. And we've had him on Periscope Uncensored many years ago. And he is an amazing investigator. He's an author. You guys may remember him from Haunted Case Files. He's a jack of all trades in the paranormal industry. And so please join us in welcoming Mr. Jack Kenna to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be back. You know, I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be here.
You know, I have been looking forward to talking to you really since I booked you last fall.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, well,
that means a lot to me. I mean, you know, it just means a lot to me. But
well, you know, it's been a few years.
It has.
And, you know, and you and I both have, you know, so many projects going and everything, but your projects are way more exciting than mine. You know, mine are just, you know, out in the field and investigating and testing new theories and hypotheses, you know, but you're going out, you know, and you're speaking at more conventions than I am, and you know, you're just sharing with the masses a lot more than I am, and of course now my son is trying to call, so I'm going to mute that.
I thought we had an apparition going on there for a second. EVP
it's an EVP.
It's paranormal on a paranormal show. How much better can you get? You know?
Right? What a coincidence! You know, we get an EVP of the Cuppy Cake song on a paranormal themed radio show. How do you like that?
Amazing.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask. You know, what is new in your life? I know there's some stuff you can't talk about yet.
What's new? What isn't new? You know, a lot's happened since the last time I was here.
I know.
Things that I can't even account for. I was like,
I don't think you had done Haunted Case Files yet the last time we had you on the show.
No, I've done Paranormal Survivor. It might have been season 2 that I did. I can't remember if it was only season 1 or season 2. I know I'd done season 1 at least, definitely. And I did. They called me back and did season 2, where I had another case that they asked, that we had, but I also did the, quote, paranormal expert thing, right? Unquote.
Right.
So, and that's a production company term, it's
right.
We know there's no experts.
Yeah, when they contact me, they're like, "We're looking for paranormal experts," and first thing I tell them, "There's no such thing."
But I get it. You guys got to have a term to use for us. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then they called me for Haunted Case Files. Actually, almost didn't get on there. Kind of weird. Now they had all my contact. This is Our House Media. They had all my contact information. And for some reason, somebody was emailing my friend Cheryl Knight at the Paranormal Underground magazine to try to reach me. Mm-hmm. And it was going into their junk email account.
Oh, no.
So Cheryl, just whatever, it was a couple weeks later, was checking through all the junk email and getting ready to delete things, and she spotted an email for me. And she emails me and says, Jack, this company's trying to reach you. Do you know who they are? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, wow, they've sent several emails, and I only just saw it. So I ended up calling the woman, and I'm like, yeah, I hear you've been trying to reach me. She's like, oh my God, thank God you called. We're trying to reach you to do one of the case files. We can't get in touch with you. You're not responding. I said, because you're not emailing the right place. Like, you got my cards, you got my email, you got everything. You're emailing somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just funny. So it was like, they're like, oh my God, you're right. Oh, we're so sorry. So they're like, oh, we're gonna be filming in like 2 weeks. Can you do it? Like, oh boy, yeah. Like, yeah, I think we can pull something together. So we did. We pulled a bunch of our cases together, and that was part of season one. We were on season one. Then it was a long time between season one and season two, but we just did, as you know, it's airing now. It's season two. They have us on Travel Channel. It's on a hiatus until February. I don't know why. It's like mid-season break or something. But they will be coming back. In case anybody who is out there has been watching is wondering, Haunted Case Files is not completed yet, and it will be coming back onto the Travel Channel in February next month. So don't know what that break was about. I don't know if they're introducing other new shows or whatever's going on. And then since all of that, in between all of that, I filmed Haunted Hospitals, which airs in Canada. I think it's done there now. I think it's in the UK, and it's supposed to be, I think, coming here to the US next year, this year sometime, 2019 sometime. So I did that, and then also filmed for an episode. Me and two of my team members filmed for an episode of A Haunting, which will air, I understand, in like June or July timeframe. So we did that, and I just got called last week, and then this past weekend I went up to Quebec to film for a show called My Worst Nightmare. Wow. So, yeah, lots going on and lots happening, and just craziness. I mean, it's literally almost like craziness. So, and I'm shocked by it all and pleased by it all, and I've had friends tell me now, you're a paranormal celebrity. I said, I'm what?
Right?
When did that happen? They're like, yeah, we tell people that we know you because you're a celebrity. I'm like, no, I'm not. Am I? No. It's weird. It's really weird.
It is kind of weird and humbling the first time somebody calls you a celebrity or says that you're famous.
Yeah, because I don't see it that way. I just don't. I mean,
yeah, I don't either.
It's just odd. But it's humbling. It is humbling because I just try to go out and do things to reach out to people, right? I mean, the shows keep calling me at this point now, so I'm not searching for it. I never really did.
Right.
Fell into it, as we had, I think, talked about a long time ago. I talked about that more recently. People say, well, how do you get a show? How do you get on a show? I said, I don't know. I just answered an email. I made a phone and had a conversation with somebody, and the next thing I know, there it is, and then they're calling me back, So, but I always try to use that to try to do some type of education as best we can with it, or let people know it's a way to reach out for help, And that was one positive thing that's really come out of it all is, more people do reach out to us, our team, for help now.
Right.
And that's what, to me, is the biggest thing for that. And we do the best we can to help them, or help them find a team that can help them if they're in other states and all that. So, and I've learned over the years, get on these TV shows, and I have these contacts, and I know other people that want to be on TV shows, so I do share the wealth. I get them, in touch with the producers and stuff and say, well, here's the gig for this show, and if you want to do it, here's what you got to have, and if you do, I'll get you on, or I'll put you in the right direction, at least anyway. I can't guarantee they'll get on, but it's up to the producers. So I try to do that for different people out there, too.
Yeah, so, you and I had a conversation just today about a production company that had reached out to me.
Yes, and I did email that individual, so I'm waiting to hear back.
I emailed them as well and said, what gives? So I was a little more professional than that, but
yeah. I basically was too, but he he had reached back out to me today because I told him like a week ago. I said, "Well, yeah, I'll post it out there for you," and I just put the the offer out there, and I assume these people want to talk to people, right?
Right.
Looking because he wrote me back today. He goes, "Jack, did you post anything yet? Have you heard anything back from anybody? We're still looking for people." I said, "Well, no, I hadn't gotten to it, but I'll take care of it." And so I had a minute, and I did, and then you said that, and I'm like, "All right, that's weird. What's going on there?" So, and then one of the other people had said something that she never heard back from him too. So I'm like, so I took both your messages to me and I posted it to him, in the email. I said, what's going on? You're telling me in a nice way. I said, I know you're trying to, get people for the show, but these two individuals haven't, have had these issues, and can you get back to them, please, and just see, let them know what's going on or whatever, and we'll see what happens, see if he responds to me. But if he doesn't respond to me, like, by tomorrow, same time, tomorrow, I'll just delete that post because, all right, I'm not going to waste people or have people waste their time, It's ridiculous. You say you want people and you come back to me saying, did you post anything? And you're not responding to people? All right, or you're saying, okay, we're going to have our conversation. Oh, we got to postpone it, and then you don't get back to me again. That doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. But I know the show is on Netflix,
Right.
And seems like a decent show. But, I don't know. I've never had that happen with a production company. It's like, oh yeah, we're doing all this filming, and we want to, we want these people, to be on our show, and they usually will call you and contact you and let you know, one way or the other, that, yeah, okay, it fits, or no, it doesn't fit, So we'll see what happens, but thank you for letting me know about that, and I appreciate that.
I just wanted to give you a heads up because with all of the issues that I had with them, I was beginning to wonder if it was bogus, if it was a bogus offer that they had sent me. And
it didn't seem to be, but
it didn't seem to me either, which was why I responded and scheduled, the interviews and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of blow you off. Well, all right then. I mean, if you're doing that to waste people's time, don't waste my time either.
Right.
Because I did kind of say, I said, people, I post these things for people, they trust me that, what I'm giving them is good information. So what's going on? So, I did say that to them. I mean, what's going on? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, I give him 24 hours and then, sorry, he may not even respond to me. I don't know. After that, he may be like, oh, I better not. Okay. That's not getting anything either. That'll be the first and last time. So anyways, we're doing all these other shows. We got all these projects going on and a lot of events and probably a lot more events than I really want to do. But, it's fun. It's interesting. I try to even use the events to of course, do my talks and talk to people about the paranormal and the spirituality behind the paranormal. And if you want to get into this, you need to have some kind of faith and belief in something. I do talk about that at all of my things, my events or speaking events and things like that, because it's important, right? I mean, we're talking about a spiritual realm, and I get the trying to prove the existence of the paranormal for some teams and using the electronic equipment and stuff for that, but you still have to take precautions as a team and stuff, because you just don't know who or what you're talking to out there.
Absolutely, and that's that's one of the rebuttals I use. If you look at the whole talking board controversy or Ouija board or spirit board or whatever you want to call it, there are some people that are absolutely 100% okay with utilizing such a device on an investigation. And then there are others that are adamantly opposed to using them at all. And, and their primary argument is you don't know who or what you're talking to, and you don't know if they're telling you the truth. And, my rebuttal, not that I am in favor of using said devices in investigation situations, but my rebuttal is, how is that any different than an EVP session?
The same thing.
Yeah.
And to me, and what I tell people, it's all about intent. What's your intent?
Mm-hmm.
Because people say, well, you go in and investigate homes, ask all these questions. Yeah, but my intent is to help the individual that asked me to come there.
Right.
My intent is not just to talk to and draw in a spirit. It's to find out if there is one there and what's going on and potentially why it's doing what it's doing. It's a different intent than just going in and, let's find out if there's a ghost here. And you conjure something up that maybe wasn't there before. In your zealousness to try to make communication with the paranormal or with the other side. It's all about intent. What's your intent when you go out to start to do this?
Right.
And that's going to make a difference of what happens too, and potentially even what you call in, or what is there. But it's like anything else. Using K2 is no different than using a Ouija board. You're trying to use this thing to make spirit communication with. So you have to open the session, you have to close the session, and you have to, the same thing. There's a process you got to go through to do it correctly, and not leave any doorways open, so to speak, portals. So yeah, there's really no difference. And people give me that, deer in the headlights look sometimes when I tell them that. It's like, what? Yeah, same thing. And they go, oh, yeah, I didn't think of it that way. Well, there you go. And they don't. They think, oh, it's a K2. Yeah, but you're still asking questions. You're still asking for answers. It's no different,
Yeah, you're still opening that line of potential communication,
right.
and you don't know who you're talking to, who or what you're talking to. You don't know if they're telling you the truth, and so there you do have to exercise a certain deliberate amount of caution.
Oh, absolutely.
When you're doing this, because just because you are dealing with the unknown.
Yes, exactly, 100% true. You don't know who's on the other end of the line, so to speak. You may find out at some point, but initially you don't. So
if you're lucky, you get to find out. If you're really, really lucky,
really lucky, maybe
you'll get a
name or something like that. But I mean, even just in general, you'll find out at some point. You'll feel the energy that's coming through there, if it's negative or if it's even positive or whatever. You'll get at least an idea of what you're communicating with, if there's something there. So you gotta be careful. It's a spiritual realm, and always keep that in. I always tell people, just keep that in mind. Be grounded to something. Be grounded in some type of faith or belief, or and not necessarily. It doesn't have to be necessarily religion. Religion is a whole other thing, but your faith and your belief is what really grounds you. So have that if you're going to really get into investigating and get into this field. It's important.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, it's just a game now, right?
Yeah, sure, Jax. It's still just a board game, yeah. That's what they want you to believe, anyway.
Suitable for ages 6 and up.
Yeah, 6 and up, yeah. You can talk to demons. It's like age 6, it's okay.
See, that's my whole question. My whole thing is, why would on earth you're going to allow you can't buy cigarettes in this country unless you're 18. You can't buy alcohol unless you're 21. But Ouija boards, you can just walk into any Walmart and just 6 and up.
Yeah, because nobody believes that realm is real. They all think it's just bogus. That's the general mentality, right? I mean, ghosts aren't real. It's just it's all in your head, right? That's why they sell them that way. They don't think nothing of it. And it's the wrong way. It's we who are in this field and we who have experienced things, even if you're not in the field, know that's not true, right? We know there's another part to this whole, universe that we're in. So, but the toy companies keep selling it, and the companies keep selling it, and they ain't listening to us because we just cause problems. So,
Well, and on that note, it is time for our second break of the evening. But when we come back, we're going to have more with Mr. Jack Kenna. So stay tuned, folks. You're listening to Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, and we'll be right back. 45 minutes past the hour here on Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Alabama. I'm your host, Clarissa Vasquez. In the co-pilot seat, of course, is the man with the golden voice, Mr. Jax.
Hello.
And I think all of the girls in the chat room just went, swoon. We have got a great guest on the line tonight, folks. He is an investigator. He's an author. He's been on several paranormal television shows. He speaks at conferences around the country. And if you get a chance, if you see a Paracon in your area and he is on the bill, go listen to what he has to say. I guarantee you will not be sorry. But we have got Mr. Jack Kenna on the line. And Jack, I was telling you during the break, I'm reading your bio for the first time. I'm sitting here, wow, his bio's longer than mine. I mean, I know you've done the TV shows, whereas I haven't, but I'm like, wow, your bio is actually longer than mine. And I thought mine was huge.
I thought I sent you the short version. I do have the short version. I must have got the long version.
I must have got the long version. I don't know.
I probably sent the long version for your show.
I'm looking at a 10-page PDF.
Oh yeah, that's way too long. Yeah. Some people try to read that sometimes. It's like, no, stop, just stop.
Yeah, no, just stop.
Just stop it.
Just stop.
Because I belong to several different paranormal teams. I've written books and this and that and the other thing and shows and just even the work I do for my job, which is for the Department of the Army and stuff. I mean, so there's a lot there, and I have more recently condensed it down to like a paragraph. So,
I just send everybody to my webpage. I'm like, if you want my bio here, go read my webpage.
I usually try to do that, but then people are like, oh, can't you send me something? Oh, fine, here. So I copy and paste it from the webpage.
I do that too when they get all like nitpicky. No, I need you to send me something.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just like, fine, here you go, because they want a photo and they want this and that, and I get it. So I've tried to put something together now that gives them all that together. So
yeah. So one question that I had is, you did mention that you work for the Department of the Army. Yes. How, if it does at all, how does your job as a senior engineering technician, does that play into your research when you actually get to research now because you're so busy? Does it play in? And if it does, how does it play in?
It plays in this way. And because of the job I do over there and have done for, oh my God, it'll be 35 years this coming June. I use a lot of the equipment that we use in the paranormal anyway. Okay. So I know what it really does. I know what it was really designed for. I know what can affect it. And it gives me a better understanding for like some of the newer equipment that's coming out and how that kind of really works. And because I get to see some pretty neat stuff coming out that our soldiers use at different conferences and stuff, which is kind of along the lines of what they're doing with the thermals and the, and the SLS cameras and all that stuff. You'd be surprised that the military is using similar, more advanced types of things. But so you get an idea of what it does and what it can do and what it's really doing, and it lets you know that sometimes these things can give you false positives and false readings, and you've got to take a little bit more care in that. But you use them, most of the equipment you use as a indicator. Is there possibly something going on? And you collect, from what I do, we collect data right?
Right.
And you collect a lot of data, and you review that data and see if anything comes out of it. So that's how I looking at what everybody calls evidence. I look at it as data. It's data.
I'm so glad you
looking at
said
all
that.
data and going, where's the commonalities? You know, where are these data points that I'm looking for? An EVP caught on a recorder. Another recorder in the same location didn't catch it. That's an anomaly, right? Why didn't that one catch it? This one did. You know, so it's not a human voice. Obviously, it can't not be on one and be on another, right? So that's something odd going on. Then you look, okay, was there activity on the K2 or another device at the time the EVP was captured? You know, and did somebody have a personal experience? And you can put all this together and come to a conclusion of, once you look at all your data, and come to a conclusion of, yeah, there's something going on here. There's a spirit here, or there's activity going on here, and you can be pretty confident about that, even though, regardless, you're not working in a laboratory environment. You can kind of create a somewhat laboratory environment within the location you're investigating, through controls and things like that. So that's where it kind of really comes over, and that's that technical end of it.
Wow, Jax, does it sound like you're talking to me, listening to what he's saying?
It does. It sounds like you guys are like a twins.
Technical people, what do you want from us? You know?
Yeah, no, I'm really happy to hear you use the word data, because, you know, I tell people over and over again, evidence is something you can prove in court. I don't like using the terms evidence and proof. And I have been a long time advocate, you know, for, you know, trying to follow the scientific method as much as possible and utilizing controls, you know, when you're testing your hypotheses and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it's like I'm listening to myself right now.
Well, I'm glad we agree on those types of things, but you know, it does. I mean, it helps you figure out really what's going on. So you have some type of controls going on, even in a somewhat uncontrolled environment, right? I mean, you can get data out of it, and you can look at that data and go, hey, there's something going on here. There's anomalies here, and some of these anomalies are somewhat consistent. So, you know, we can talk about outliers, and you can talk about all that stuff, and that's confusing to people. But really all we're saying is never take just one thing and say that's evidence.
Right.
Look for a combination of data that's coming in from this device, this EVP, that over there, an experience or whatever. And does it add up? Does it connect? You know, and that's what you do to get a handle on it. And that's all you can do. You know, I mean, then there's the other portion of it where you're helping clients and you know, you're working residential cases, things like that, and you've got to look at the other regions of that, the other things of that are non-scientific. You know, because part of it is if you have psychic abilities, which I actually do. I don't tout that too much, but I do. So it's kind of weird because here's a sciencey guy that has other things going on too. So, you know, how do you know, people go, well, how do you come to terms with all that? I said, well, you just got to accept it for what it is, you know. And if your data validates your experiences, guess what? You know, it's good stuff. I mean, it's telling you what you're experiencing is valid.
Definitely.
So, yeah, and you've got to, you know, bring those two things together, especially in residential cases, to get the real answers for these people and to be able to help them. Because it's not, those type of cases aren't about trying to prove or disprove the existence of paranormal. It's trying to find out what's happening in this home and try to help these people. And there's a lot of other things you look at beyond that, which is, you know, the people's health issues, the people's psychological, you know, state of mind, all these other things, you know, because you're dealing with families and stuff like that.
Right.
So there's a lot more you got to look at and consider when you're doing those type of cases. So you take a little bit different approach, you know.
Yeah, and ultimately we want people to be comfortable in their personal environment.
Absolutely. Yes,
regardless,
absolutely.
whether we're able to debunk what they're experiencing or whether we're able to confirm what they're experiencing.
Right.
The ultimate goal, as far as my perspective, is to be, help our clients be comfortable in their personal space.
That's right. That's absolutely it. And that is what it is. It's about that, about taking control and, and making them feel like they can be in control. And there's things they have to do to get to that point too. And I always say the thing that scares my clients more than anything, than the spirits or anything else, is when I tell them you have to be an active participant in helping to resolve your haunting. They go, what? What does that mean? Well, I'm going to give you some advice, and I really think you should take it. Follow through with it. And I'm going to teach you how to do a cleansing, and you've got to do it. You got to, for this period of time, and make sure you're consistent with it. And but we show them all that and everything else. And usually, once they get a handle on it, most of them are good about it. There's some that just they get lazy and they don't want to be bothered, and then their problems come back again. So. Or they just don't resolve their own issues. They don't take your advice and go talk to a professional. Because in a lot of residential cases I have anyway, I notice there's a big connection between them experiencing some type of activity and issues they have that they've buried over the years that they have never dealt with. And negative attracts, I do believe negative attracts negative, And until they resolve those issues, it's not going to go away. I can do all the cleansings you want, but until you resolve your own issues, it's going to keep coming back, because it's just still attracted to it, right? The negative thing is attracted to your negativity that you're burying. So I have seen that too, and that's kind of the other end, getting away from the technical portions of things and getting into more of the spiritual realm of it, right? So, and that's why I say you've got both sides. You've always got to keep that into perspective,
Well, speaking of gathering data and anomalies, what is your take on the SLS camera?
It's an interesting tool. I don't think every team needs to have one. Just because of what they're doing. I don't even have one. I don't have a use for it. I really don't, for what I'm doing. I really don't have a use for it. I'm not. What I do is not trying to prove the existence of the paranormal. It's trying to help individuals. So it'd be an extra tool that would just kind of bog me down personally, I feel. I have used it. I know people who have them, and I find it interesting. I found things that come out of it, interesting. I have also been able to figure out that sometimes what you think is a figure is just it's reading something. It's not sure what it is, so it defaults to a figure of whatever it thinks it might be there. So you've got to be careful of that. But that's true with anything. It's like a K. It's no different than like a K2, and you think you're getting responses off of it, but maybe you're really not, and you've got to be careful, and you've got to check into it. So I think it's a good tool, though. I do think it's a good tool, especially for teams that are really trying to research the paranormal. And it has its uses. Everything has its uses, And I would say anything, and I do believe this, anything pretty much can be a potentially used for spirit communication, even a feather. Because I could say, okay, I'm going to put this feather down on the floor. I'll put it there on the floor. I say, okay, if there's a spirit here, lift straight up in the air. And let's say that happens. Goes straight up in the air, comes back down. And thank you. Can you do that again? Ooh, happens again. Right? It's subjective because, okay, it could be a gust of wind, or it could be something, but why is it going vertical? Right? And then coming back down vertical. I could say if a feather goes up, it should, it should flutter and come back down someplace else. So, but if you get that and you've captured an EVP or two EVPs during the same time period, hey, maybe I've got something going on here, and somebody got touched, or K2 went off too, or so. But you can use anything. But again, it goes back to, it's not just ever one thing. Don't see one thing happen and assume you're talking to a spirit. Don't do that, because you don't know what's really going on yet, do burst sessions while you're doing these things if you want immediate response, or try to collect immediate data, so to speak. Do EVP burst sessions. See if you get anything during those time frames.
Right.
Review it right on site. Make sure everybody tell you or whoever's with you, say, hey, tell me if something happens or if you feel something. And trust your own senses and your own things as well as to, hey, I feel like something's happening here. Something's changing, and you can sense it, you can just, your body can sense changes in the air and stuff like that, right? So, right. Yeah, so just be aware of those things, but you can use anything, but I do find the SLS kind of an interesting piece of equipment. I do.
Very cool. And it is time for our top of the hour break. But when we come back, we're going to have more with Mr. Jack Kenna. So stay tuned, folks. You're listening to Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. And we'll be right back after this message from NPR. 5 minutes past the hour here on Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Alabama. I am your host, Clarissa Vasquez. And of course, my co-pilot this evening is Mr. Jax.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. We're having a great time with our guests tonight, folks. Sometimes I wish we could broadcast what is said on our breaks.
No, you don't.
Because the best stuff always happens on break.
It does seem to happen that way, doesn't it? Oh,
yeah.
God. Oh my
yeah.
God.
But I will say it again, Jack. Listening to you talk is like, listening to me lecture. On some of these topics, it's like you're saying it almost verbatim, the way that I would say or phrase or explain something, and
maybe we should do a lecture together sometime.
We should.
No, I mean seriously, maybe we should do that sometime.
We should. We'll have to get in touch and see if
debate, and Jax can mediate, and it'll be like we both win because we both agree.
Right.
That doesn't really make it a debate, I guess. That doesn't.
Okay. Mr. Kenna, how do you feel about this? And you answer, and okay, Miss Vasquez, how do you feel about this? Ditto.
Then you get the question. I say ditto. Ditto.
Yeah.
Oh, very good debate.
It'll be the ditto show.
Ditto. I have a new show. Ditto show. Ditto. But maybe we should look at maybe doing a speaking event or lecture or something together sometime. That'd be awesome. I think fun.
That would be great. I think that would be a blast.
So there you go, people. You just heard it on here first time somewhere along the line. Clarissa and I are going to do a lecture together. There you go. All right. That will all be after us. When are you doing it?
Yeah. When's it going to happen?
Is it happen this week? Is it next week? When is it? I don't know.
I've actually got the name already picked out.
Oh, awesome. What is it?
Lay it on me.
The duo of the Paranormal Twins.
The duel of the Paranormal Twins. There we go.
I don't know that we would actually duel, though.
Yeah.
No, duo.
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 Okay.
Yeah,
like the dynamic duo.
Dynamic duo.
Okay, I'll be Batman. You can be Robin.
Fair enough.
I take full credit.
I'm okay with that. I'm Robin on my teams anyway, and I don't. Well, I finally did create my own team, but it took forever.
Well, I wanted to say because I would look better in tights, but they both wear tights, don't they?
They do. Yeah, I wouldn't look very good in tights, but I'll do it for you. Just because, okay, Robin, yeah.
Well, yeah, but then again,
I make a better sidekick than a leader anyway, to be honest with you. I think I do. I think I make a better sidekick.
Yeah, but with my red hair, I would look better in green.
Well, colors don't matter. You just don't want to be the Green Lantern, I don't think, but
Not according to Ryan Reynolds.
No, yeah, any color but green. Any color but green.
Or animated.
Or animated, yes, for that matter. Yeah.
But Jax, I know you've got some questions to ask Jack. This is really tough for me, folks, with the Jax and the Jack and all of that. So,
right.
Jax, I know you have questions for Jack.
Well,
wait, Jack.
Like in investigating, like if a team once sealed a room and filled it with kerosene, smoke, and helium, filled balloons and train.
Like when they put a camera on it.
When they put a camera on it, and if they move, what? That's just an example. But what is the craziest experiment that you have conducted or heard of anyone conducting
I don't know about crazy. That's probably if you just said that, that's probably the craziest thing I ever heard of. I mean, there's some old methods I know of, which is the talcum powder stuff and things like that. I'm looking for the footprints in them. Um, I don't really, I don't get into trying to do too many crazy experiments. Um, but I do know some interesting ones, which is um, using an EM detector, that'll buzz or whatever, that you can wire a doorway. Okay, you can put a wire, copper wire around a doorway, leads back to the thing, and if somebody breaks that, or if something breaks that energy, right, that whatever you want to call that field, it'll the detector will go off. So I mean that's kind of interesting. I mean there's little experiments like or things like that you can do. Um, I haven't heard anybody do anything really crazy. I've heard of the string thing. Right, they hang multiple strings like from a ceiling and ask them to move. And they wait to see if they move. I mean, again, if it does it consistently, okay, maybe something's going on. But I mean, yeah, you got to think about airflow and all that stuff. So it has to be like a completely dead um, air thing. You can't have any breezes or anything like that. Balloons
Right.
is another one. I mean, yeah, I know people who use balloons. They'll ask for the balloon to be lifted, okay, into the air, which just a balloon filled with air should not do that.
Right.
Um, so I've seen those type of experiments done. Uh, I haven't seen it successful. Stared at a balloon for a while on a floor, but I was like, whatever, you know. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things you can try. But that's the craziest thing I ever heard is what you just talked about.
I am familiar with that experiment actually, and there was a team. It was several years ago, and they supposedly sealed a room and filled it with kerosene smoke, and they also took three red helium-filled balloons and tethered them to the floor with by the string, and they trained a camera, and they filled this room with the kerosene smoke, like the party smoke,
Right.
and trained a camera on it, and lo and behold, eventually you can see that smoke swirling and one of the balloons moving.
Interesting.
And yeah, I'm very familiar with that experiment. It caught a lot of flack though from the public because there was no way that based on that camera angle that it could be clearly quote unquote proven that the room was actually sealed.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to get that. I mean,
Yeah.
You're never going to prove to skeptics or anything like that the existence.
Yeah, there's always going to be skeptics.
It's not going to happen. It's just you're never going to have that kind of evidence. Yeah. I don't think. But if you can prove something for yourselves, I mean, and you can prove at least show everything you've done, that you could possibly do. To others in the field, it could be a good experiment for somebody else to try to reproduce, right?
Yeah.
Even in a different setting,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the good stuff to do. Share that information and get it out there. Yeah, you'll get your naysayers. You got to ignore that. You know what you did. You know if it was sealed or not. You know what went on. You recorded it.
Right.
Data. Right?
Exactly.
And documentation of what you've done always very important, and the best thing you do is try to document as much as possible.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have had a camera inside the room with it, looking to show that the room was sealed at all directions. Next time, okay, and you learn by your experiments too. Okay, we didn't cover everything that time, we'll do a little different this time.
Right.
And you learn from that. But that's an interesting experiment. Yeah. Not practical for use in somebody's home, but
Right.
but for certain things, it's a great, especially in unknown haunted locations and things like that. Those are great experiments to try.
Yeah.
Besides just going in and going around and always investigating, a typical way, try something different. I think that's a great idea. Jax, what else you got? That's my opinion on that. And I know you have several questions, so I don't want to waste time on just one.
Um,
No, that was it. I'm like it.
yeah, for right now, I'm thinking. I am thinking.
All right. Um, I'll go with a quick plug then. My books are out there. You guys,
Yes.
Newest book is Paranormal Research. All available on Amazon.com. You can just look my name, just look up Jack Kenna. So you'll find that one on there, and you'll find Hauntings, Ghosts, and Demons on there, as well as the graphic novel I have on there. But Paranormal Research is actually, I'm really excited about it because it's actually been selling very well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I see it selling online. I mean, it's not huge sales, but it surprises me.
What are you doing? Because my book sales are stagnant.
I don't. Well, when I do the events, I always bring books with me too. I sell more.
I do the same.
I do.
Yep.
Online.
Oh yeah.
But I just, I guess by doing these shows and just, talking about it, just on Facebook once in a while, putting stuff out there, people are picking it up, and I just, mention it once in a while on Facebook or something, and not too often, but I think people are finding me, they're hearing about it, and they're like, oh, I want to get his book. I want to learn more about what his, real concepts of things are, and his views on things. And that's what that book, Paranormal Research, kind of really talks about. And then the fun read is Haunting, Ghosts, and Demons, which, interestingly enough, I was shocked when I found out some of the best feedback is, oh, I learned investigation techniques out of this book. And I'm like, really? I didn't plan it that way.
Cool.
It's just based on. I mean, it's a book that's based on some of our team's investigations and a couple made-up stories, and I did build our actual investigation techniques into it. So, but I've heard even from some investigators like, I never thought about doing something that way before, using a piece of equipment quite that way, and I was like, wow, that wasn't really the intent. But they also love the stories, and there's real evidence that was captured and stuff. You go to our website and you can listen to the EVPs and view the videos that are talked about in that book, as well as in Paranormal Research. So they can be a somewhat, you can look at them as somewhat an interactive type book, because you can go to the websites and actually listen to EVPs that are actually talked about and discussed, and evidence that's discussed, and other things we have in there are on the website that connect to the books, so or an enhancement of the book, let's say, So yeah, they're doing really well, and I'm excited about that. So
that is so cool.
Yeah, and I would say, if you're trying to get more with your books out there, just talk about them once in a while. Mention them to people. They don't know otherwise. They forget.
Right.
I did some specials during the holidays and things like that too, and give people a little break and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
You don't make money off of books really, but but if you can get your stuff out there to more people. I actually even ran a contest over Christmas, where I did a kind of a drawing, and one person won a copy of my new book, Paranormal Research, and some other people won some copies of my graphic novel, and other people won an autographed photo, and they loved it. And if I can give back to the fans and my peeps a little bit, all the better. People say, well, it's costing you money. So what? So what? These are people that follow me. They enjoy what I have to say. They want to learn more. And if I can give them that opportunity, why not? Why not? If I can do something for them,
Okay, I got a question now.
Go ahead.
You had mentioned that you like to be old school. So during investigations, do you have you ever still used compasses and other, tape recorders and that sort of stuff?
Really old school.
Yeah, that's even a little too old. Though I do have regular tape recorders, the little mini ones. I don't use them. I originally kind of did, and I got away from them just because it's easier to get the stuff onto the computer to review. I have used other types of things. Like I said, I use divining rods. I love those because that's kind of what we were talking about, right? Or during our break there, is I like them because, not because, it's you're getting the yes and no answers, but I can feel the energy that's coming through the rods, right? The energy from whatever might be communicating with me. I can feel that energy and sense it and feel whether it's possibly positive or negative, or something's even kind of BSing you and lying to you. We talked about that, right? It's like, you think of it as like if somebody's talking to you and they're telling you, "Oh, I know the Pope, and I'm friends with," they're BSing it, right?
Right.
And they're pretending they're like it's true, and you can sense the stuff that's coming from people. And it's the same way. It works the same way with the divining rods, and that's where I get back to more, the spiritual side of things and connecting with those type of energies and that type of stuff. Getting away a little bit from the tech stuff, and using a little bit older methods. And yeah, compasses you can use. I have used that too. Never had much luck with that, but divining rods I seem to have some interesting results from. And like I said, you can use a pencil and roll the. Hey, if you're here, move the pencil, and it might move, it might roll, or something like that. But I haven't had that happen either. But I try it. I'll try different things that are just get away from the tech, and I just so if I'm trying to capture evidence, I'll just put a camera on it. Right, and record it.
Mm-hmm.
Record what's happening, what's going on around it, because I'll use a camera that's a close-up and a camera that's showing everyone. And that's not to prove or disprove to anybody, because you're never going to anyway. But it's to just show, okay, here's what we're recording it for ourselves, posterity reasons.
Right.
What did we do? Was there something else that happened in the background while that was going on too? You may capture a shadow figure or something else if you've got that extra camera looking at the group. So you look at all these things.
Absolutely. And on that note, Jack, it is time for our next break. But when we come back, we're going to have our closing comments with Mr. Jack Kenna. So stay tuned, folks. You're listening to Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, and we will be right back.
Son of a...
Hey, son.
Mother...
Son, what are you doing?
Hey, Mom. I'm getting ready to listen to Periscope Uncensored.
By expanding your vocabulary.
Well, it is uncensored.
Son, the uncensored part of Periscope Uncensored is Jax and I getting down to brass tacks with all aspects of the paranormal. There's no fluff on our show.
So, no off-color commentary?
I didn't say that.
Awesome!
Son?
I just hit my head.
Oh boy, I'll go get you an ice pack. Catch Periscope Uncensored Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
24 minutes past the hour here on Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Alabama. I'm your host, Clarissa Vasquez, and of course, my partner in crime this evening is the fabulous Jax.
Hello, everybody. And before we go any further, I just want to give a quick shout out to two friends of mine that are listening tonight, Vern and Cuvid. Thank you for listening, guys.
Well, welcome to the show, guys, and thanks for listening. And we have got a phenomenal guest. And of course, there's always so much to say and never enough time to say it. But we've got about 20 minutes left with Mr. Jack Kenna. I know.
That's all. I know. That time flew by.
I know, time flies. But we may have put a couple of irons in the fire, so there may be some collaboration going on here in the future. I don't know. The wheels are turning.
Yeah, they are. I sure hope so. Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be awesome if we could do something together. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
people.
great.
I think people would love it too.
I think they would too, because I think there's a genuine call for what I would call legitimate information,
right?
To be presented to the public. With my last book that I co-wrote with Chris Carr about psychosomatic pareidolia. It was our objective, to bring to light a common occurrence that no one is immune to, whether you're an investigator or not. You know, everyone is subject to it. No one's immune to it.
That's right.
And you know, it really touches on that need for, you know, legitimate information, you know, to be brought to the public.
Yep.
And Jack, I'll get with you after the show, probably through private message,
Okay.
and grab your address. I'll send you a copy of that book.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll trade one with you.
Oh, sweet.
Fair enough.
And yeah, because I think you would enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I would. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, and as you were saying, you know, people are reading your books and going, wow, I learned investigation techniques.
From a book that was meant to just entertain.
Right.
Yeah. Go figure. You know. Well, like I said, I did write the art techniques we actually use into it. So I guess it makes sense. You know, it's just, you never know what people are going to get out of your book, right? You plan it for one thing and people get something else completely different out of it, you know? So it's just kind of cool. I just find that that's kind of cool. You know, you reach out to people, you reach people in a way you didn't expect to.
Yeah. And in addition to writing books, you're also a contributor for Paranormal Underground magazine and Living Paranormal magazine, right?
Yes, correct. Yes. Every so often I do stuff for them. I used to do a lot more than I do now. And that's just because of how busy I am.
Right.
But yeah. And it's how I kind of really started off with the writing, was for Paranormal Underground magazine. And a good friend of mine had got me connected with them because I wrote something that she goes, I want to see if we can get this published for you. And she knew Cheryl Knight over there and put me in contact. And Cheryl loved the little article too and published it. And then she asked me to do something else. And I'm like, yeah. She goes, do you like to do tech stuff? I said, sure. And we did a lot of tech articles for I'm talking about equipment and stuff and keeping it in layman's terms, which she loved. And we got a lot of great feedback on it, even from the UK on that. It's like, wow, I like that somebody finally put things in really simple to understand terms about how this stuff works and not getting into the nitty gritty of it for what we're just trying to use it for, you know. And not that that's not important to understand, the nitty gritty, but if you're just trying to say, I would just want to know how to kind of really use it to optimize my chances of spirit communication, you don't need to know the intimate details, you know.
Right.
But you need to know how to check to see if it's an anomaly or if it's potential spirit communication. And we talked about that already. So, go ahead, Jax.
What is your favorite device to communicate?
I don't know if I have a real favorite. There is a device. It's an app that I like to use on investigations. Hey, listen to this. I've been using this thing for 7 years now.
Oh, no.
And I just tested. No, I used to just do testing with it for the longest time. But when you can put together responses that connect to EVPs, that connect to other things, and you get words that come through that connect directly to the history of a location, it's kind of hard to start to just keep ignoring it. All right. So again, it's anything it's just potential. But what it does for you, the reason I really like it, what it does for you is if you seem to be getting responses from it, and I use the Ghost Radar app, and it gives blips and it gives words and stuff like that. So what I like to do with it is for these little energy blips that will potentially show up, I say, give me 2 for yes and 1 for no for a question. And if I get that consistently, it's like, okay, so I might be on to something here. And then I can ask, I can follow a train of thought and potentially ask better questions. And that's what I really like to use it for. You know, which direction does it seem to be going? And if I am talking to somebody, and I never assume that I am, but at least if I seem to be getting activity, I can follow a train of thought. And you have to use any of these things correctly. I mean, it's actually the algorithms that are put into these things is no different than really what's in an obelisk. Okay, they're very similar. The algorithms that are built in are very similar because I've talked to the guy who developed it.
That developed the app or developed the obelisk?
Developed the app. Right.
Okay.
All right, and so I talked to him about it at length a couple times, and Um, he's an electrical engineer, and he did all this stuff, put it into it, and without getting into details, he couldn't get into too much about it because of whatever. But you have to make sure your phone is in airplane mode. You've got to make sure you leave this thing on for 10 minutes because the algorithm runs through a routine to work out. What it does is it takes into account different things that are going on. So it runs through its own, let's say, startup routine. So you get a lot of junk initially. It doesn't mean anything, right? It's not communication. What you do is you wait for it to totally go quiet, right? And it does. And that's all it should do, right? It should not have anything come through it at all. No blips, no nothing, no words, nothing should happen on it. And then we've noticed this. If we get nothing until we suddenly, either we're sitting, talking, having a conversation, and then something starts to happen that we hit on about talking about the place or the location or what's happening there. All of a sudden we start to get like activity on it. So we'll kind of look at it and just keep talking, and then we might start asking questions. But I've had, here's a for instance. This actually did happen at Fisher College in Boston. I was using that device. I was asking, is anybody here? Give us, 2 blips for yes, 1 for no. That started happening. The guy who was in the room with me said he got touched. And then I get a word come through. It says, it's a name, because I said, a name came through, Alice. I go, oh, Alice, is that your name? Well, on the EVP, on my recorder, I catch an EVP says, female voice saying yes. That's on our website, by the way.
Wow.
And female voice saying yes. Well, interestingly enough, I hadn't remembered it at the time. I went back and checking into the history of the location again. The wife who had lived at that mansion, which is now part of the college, was Alice Ormond King. Is that Alice Ormond King that responded? I can't tell you that. But
Right.
the name was correct. The name that came through the ghost radar was correct. The blips that we're getting indicating responses to things seem consistent. Tim gets touched, and I get an EVP of a female voice after the device says Alice. Oh, Alice, is that your name? Saying yes. That's data, right?
That is data.
Combination of data.
Yes.
And this has happened with that app more than once. I won't say every time it's true, but you can use it. It's another tool to use, but it's a nice visual tool and an audio tool because words come through it. And it can give you a direction to go if you're not sure what's really happening. But again, you got to use these things the right way. You can't just, willy-nilly just throw these things out there, So you've got to have patience. You got to use them right. So, and I know a lot of people, well, these apps say they're just for entertainment purposes only. Well, yeah, because nobody can give you anything and say it can communicate with spirit. Because we can't even prove the existence of spirit right now.
Right.
So it's a disclaimer. It's a legal disclaimer. What are they going to tell you? Even he was surprised when I told him about some of this stuff. I wasn't. He was like, "You're really get creative activity with it?" Because most people just download it for fun, right? Because it's free. It's a free app. Now it is. It used to be like $1.99, but now it's free.
Right.
I use Ghost Radar Legacy is the one I use because it can save with Legacy. It saves the words. And it saves data, and I can email that data and the words to myself for easier review later on.
Right.
And compare it to what's who lived there or whatever activity was going on in the location or whatever history happened there. So you can look through it and see if there's any potential, correlations at all. And so I do like it. I got to admit, I do like it. And it's pretty simple to use. So it's a tool. You take it all with a grain of salt. You have to. You can't assume it's spirit communication, but it can help you. Again, it can help you ask better questions or follow a train of thought better during an investigation. If something seems responding to something, don't completely change off the subject. Right?
Right.
Keep following that subject. And that's what it helps you do. So that's my take on that.
Well, Jack, we have a question in the chat going back to the Ouija board.
Yeah.
the question is that from Cupid, he would like to know what is the safest way you think, in your opinion, to get rid of an Ouija board.
Safest way to get rid of, well, number one, you've got to make sure before you do anything, whatever was going on with that board, you better make sure the session has been closed. You have anything, that came through it, potentially you've got to return. You can't stay here, or saying goodbye. You use prayer and different things like that. You got to make sure that session is ended, or the next thing you do is going to keep whatever is there, right? Typically, what we'll do once we've made sure that, and usually we deal with that when we deal with cases that people are using Ouija boards. We'll make sure we go through the process of making sure the board is closed, make sure the portal, and you can actually, there's ways to measure, I guess, lack of a better term, measure for the portal, see if the portal's there in the board itself. And you want to make sure that's all closed. Then typically what we use is holy water and blessing, and it seals the board, and you can't use it again. It will never work again. And that's permanently sealing it. So and then you can dispose of it kind of as you see fit. Usually you don't want to burn it because it can reopen things, but you can kind of dispose of it after that. Or, if you like them, hang them on your wall. You sealed it, it's closed, nothing's going to happen to it again. And that's
Be like Bob
why
Merch and
people
open a
collect them.
museum.
Yeah, exactly. People collect them. I got friends of mine who collect them all the time. And sometimes they get one that, that session was left open. There's something attached to it now, and you got to go through a process to resolve that. But sometimes they don't want to. They like having the haunting in their house. And whatever, people. Not me. I don't want.
Right.
So that's a process that we do. I mean, if we need to. I try not to deal with those things at all.
Have you ever had anything on the flip side of that coin where you go in and you're able to explain their experiences and conclude that it's not paranormal in nature, and they get angry with you because they want it to be a ghost?
No, I've never had anybody get angry. I mean,
I have.
Yeah, no, they just kind of go, oh, well, I think it's this. I said, well, that's your opinion. But, but for us, before I'll even take a case, and this weeds out a lot of people who just, I want you to come and investigate my house. All right, here's my 12-page form you need to fill out.
Right.
What? Yeah, I need this filled out. And it asks everything.
Yep.
Everything. Medications, psychological thing, this, that, and they don't want to fill it out. I'll get back to you. I'll get it back to you. And you never hear from them again.
Yeah. We tell them they have to complete the form in order to legally invite us.
Yeah.
To, and some people are like, yeah, I'll fill it out. And others are like, yeah, no, I don't want to bother.
Yeah, but I tell you, people really want your help. I get that form back in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Yep.
Because then that's usually, for me, that's now, after you've done so many, that's an indicator they're really kind of freaked out by whatever's going on there.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily still mean they have paranormal activity, but I have found in almost every case they do. And that's why they're so desperate to get that back to you, so you'll come out,
Right.
The next thing we do is talk to them on the phone anyway, and have a discussion of, you read over everything, you read over what they're claiming, you go through it, and then you call them and talk to them about what else do you want to tell me. And I record those conversations too, and I let them know I'm recording, because I want to capture it, because I'm going to forget.
Right.
You can take all the best notes I want, but the best note taker I have is the recorder on my phone. So I will let them know, hey, do you mind if I record this? Because this is the reason why. And most people don't have an issue with it. Some say, well, I'd rather not. I'm like, okay, I'll just take notes then,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like being able to capture that, because I can go back and even let the other team members listen to what the person had to say.
Right.
They were initially privy to the conversation. And they're like, oh, okay, all right, well, that makes more sense. Now we can, talk about that case much more, with a lot more knowledge behind what's really going on.
Right.
and
Well,
more
and you can tell a
intelligent.
lot by somebody's tone of voice also.
Yes, exactly. You can tell if they're scared. You can tell if they're just like, oh well, this and that,
Right.
and most of these people are pretty frightened. You get them on the phone, and they're pretty frightened about what's happening, and you can hear it.
Yeah.
And they're concerned, and that's why they filled out that form so fast. It's like, okay, we'll be out. Let's try to work out a date and figure out a date and time and all that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's what we do. So,
Well, Jack, we've only got about 2 minutes left with you.
2 minutes.
I know. So for our listeners, how can they best get in touch with you to learn more about, your books and your research and where you're going to be? What's the best way to find you?
The best places to find me, Facebook. It's facebook.com/JackNY45, or just look me up on there. Just look up Jack Kenna. You'll find me out there. And you can go to our website, spiritsofnewengland.org. That has everything, contact information, email address, everything where you can reach us through. If you do need help, you can reach us through there too. The form's right online. Go fill it out. So but no, if you do have questions, best way to reach me is through Messenger on my Facebook page, and I will always try to respond to everybody, and just reach me there.
Outstanding. Jack Kenna, ladies and gentlemen. And again, you can find him on Facebook and on the spiritsofnewengland.org website. And, by all means, go to Amazon and, look at his books, buy his books. I highly encourage you to do that. I can pretty much guarantee reading one of his books is going to be like reading one of mine. And I know a lot of our listeners have read my books. So, I encourage you to do it. If you like my stuff, you're going to like his. And with that, we have to take our final break of the evening. But when we come back, it's going to be me and Jax. So stay tuned. You're listening to Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, and we'll be right back. 45 minutes past the hour here on Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Alabama. I'm your host, Clarissa Vasquez. And of course, my partner in crime, Mr. Jax, is with us.
Hello, everybody.
So what did you think about our guest?
Awesome. Jack Kenna's an awesome guest.
Oh, man, so much information.
Yes.
And, we were thinking that he and I may be twinsies until he mentioned the app. And I just went, oh, crash and burn.
I personally, from the research that I've done, not saying, me personally, I don't find any phone app credible.
I don't either.
That's just me.
Cell phones and tablets were not designed to do what the apps claim they can do.
Correct. Technology is not there.
They mention a location, and even on airplane mode, the GPS feature in your device is still on. It's still active. And, you could go to, for sake of argument, the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast. And because the GPS feature is active, in your device, that app is going to know exactly where you're at, and it's going to be giving you words like axe and murder, and, maybe even tossing out a name like Andrew or Lizzie or something. And so I am not an advocate of the apps at all. And so, it's like when he said Ghost Radar, I cringed. Oh no, don't say that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he and I are pretty much singing from the same sheet of music.
Yes.
So it was kind of like listening to, one of my interviews, when I go on shows and I'm interviewed. It was like listening to myself, only with a better voice.
Well, I was going to agree with you up until that point.
Oh,
okay.
So, are they still talking about eating ribs in the chat room?
No, but there is a comment in the chat, or a question for you.
What's that? Oh, Qvid, great show. And Clarissa, are you as hot as your voice? Yes, I am. I'm a Pisces. I like walks on the beach and sunsets. And the chat room's going to blow up.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. Some people have I've gotten emails. People have been talking to me. It's like, oh, you got to try this app out. I mean, Ghost Radar. Yeah, I used to play around with that maybe 4 years ago, and I found some like things that were kind of weirdly coincidental.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, like one day I was just messing around with it, and right around the block that when my daughter and my grandson went to daycare, I used to walk down to go pick them up, and I was playing around with that. And right before I got to the home to pick up the children, right before I hit the steps, it said children. I'm like looking at it, and my mouth hit the floor. I was like, really? Huh.
Wow. Well, and like Jack said, anything really can be used as an investigation device. And it's all about validation and collecting that data that can be collaborated and can be, combined and backed up and verified. And so, if a spirit is able to successfully interact with an app and you can back it up with, say an EVP and a personal experience or, video footage, in conjunction with, what the app is going on, then, the app isn't necessarily bogus in that scenario.
Right. Right.
So, but again, utilizing an app, for legitimate research purposes, no.
I mean, my thing, the technology is not there in a tablet or a phone. It's just not there. It's not built into it. So how I mean, coincidence? Yeah, you're gonna find some of the apps coincidentally is gonna come out with something that's gonna make you scratch your head.
Right.
Things to make you go,
Mm-hmm.
But overall, nothing's gonna work on that.
No, I agree. And, and like Jack was saying when we were talking about, so many investigators wanting to use so many pieces of equipment, having a variety of equipment is a good thing.
Yes.
I have oftentimes equated investigating to fishing. Sometimes you have to change your bait or your tactics or even your location, on the lake or on the river, if you want to catch that fish. And it's the same thing with investigating. Sometimes you have to, change rooms or change your equipment or change your methodology, like your line of questioning or what have you, if you want to capture that data and then collect collaborating data on top of it. Wow, we're getting cat calls in the chat room now. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess I'm kind of humbled and flattered. For once, it's not everybody pouncing on you in the chat room. Wow.
Yeah.
What an interesting twist of events.
Well, you know what, Vern? I just want to respond to Vern real quick.
Mm-hmm.
If the EMF apps work, Vern, tell me the name of it so I can test it out.
Yeah, because we have very high-tech EMF meters that can read within 10,000ths of a milligauss that can go up to over 5,000 milligauss. And so, if the app works, I'm willing to test it out with one of my meters. I'll check it out, and maybe I'll even do a video on it and say, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm testing, and see if it works.
Yeah.
So Vern says the EMF sensory devices used in $2,000 EMF devices are the same digital diode used in the compasses on the high-end phones. Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of really good feedback in the chat room tonight. And we want to thank everybody who has been listening via the WBHM digital broadcasting website and who has participated in chat room. It's been kind of, hit or miss. People have been coming and going throughout the night. We want to thank everybody that was listening via Spreaker and any of the other listening apps out there where you can catch our show. And we're here every Thursday night, folks. And so,
Every Thursday.
Yep, every Thursday. And in a couple of weeks, we're actually going to be broadcasting from the same location.
Yay!
Yeah.
How exciting is that?
That is awesome.
Isn't it?
I know. We're used to broadcasting from 2,000 miles apart, but we'll actually be in the same room. I don't know if the listeners can stand it.
I don't know. I don't know if I can stand it.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you can stand it.
I don't know. We have never broadcast from the same location before, so this is going to be new for us.
Oh, cramp. Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh. Were you doing the happy dance or what?
No.
Uh-oh. I have no idea what's going on over there, but it sounds funny.
No, I just got my legs stretched out. But it's okay.
Oh, no.
I'm fine.
Don't do that. It hurts.
No. Okay. All right.
Are you going to lift? You're going to lift? Okay.
Oh, there it goes again.
Only on live radio do you guys get to listen to Jax's leg cramps.
Oh, I know. This
Okay.
is.
Who do we have coming up next week? Let me check real quick while Jax is rubbing out his leg cramp. Next week on Periscope Uncensored, I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing. I'm so sorry. I know it's not funny.
No.
Next week on Periscope Uncensored, we're going to have Chad Dye from Midwest Parafest. He's going to be coming on to tell us about this great event that they've got coming up. And so you definitely want to tune in for that because this is a huge event. And we're going to have Mr. Chad on to talk about it. And of course, be sure to tune into Hidden World Paranormal Talk Radio next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to have Corvus Nocturnum from the Church of Satan on the show. And I don't know if we're going to be talking about the Church of Satan. I don't know if we're going to be talking about Krampus. I don't know. For those of you that listen to the show, you never know what is going to happen on that show.
Yes.
And Vern wants to know, how do they do that over Skype? How do we do what over Skype? How do we broadcast the show over Skype? It's really easy. You push the button.
No, I think he's trying to say, how do you do that, in the same room over Skype?
Oh, really easy. Really easy.
I think that's what he's saying.
Okay. No, we don't have to be in the same room to broadcast our shows. We do it from thousands of miles apart. But, and we do it well, don't we?
Yes.
But yeah, again, thank you everybody for tuning in to the show tonight. Thank you to Jack Kenna for being such an amazing guest. And if you want to learn more about Jack, go to spiritsofnewengland.org, or you can find him on Facebook. And he will be on Hidden World Paranormal Talk Radio here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting in late February. So you can hear more about Mr. Kenna then. And so with that, we have come to the end of our show.
Boo.
I know. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes. Or when you're having leg cramps.
No, when you're having leg cramps, it goes on forever. But thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. And for Jax, Chris, Kat, the WBHM Digital Broadcasting family of hosts, and myself, have a great night, everyone, and may all of your ghosts be friendly.
Stay spooky, everybody.